In yesterday's video, we thought out 3 people we found in suspended animation. Toshiro, the Japanese samurai, Paulson, the cowboy, and Elliot, the US Army field medic. We also reunited with Soma, who helped us escape from our holding cell. All 4 are furious at the aliens for abducting them, and our plan is to work together to escape. Sally told us exactly what we need to do. We need to destroy 3 generators that are powering the oxygen pumps in the portion of the ship that's blocking our way to the door that leads outside. By destroying these generators, we'll suffocate the aliens in our way, making our progress smoother. Our task now is to delve deeper into the ship to find and destroy these generators. Sally told us that we're likely to find stiff opposition while exploring these other areas of the ship, and she suggested that we take one of the other adults with us. We can at any time take Elliot, Soma, or Paulson with us as a temporary companion. However, each of these companions prefers to explore a specific part of the ship. They tell us which part of the ship they are most interested in. When we talk to them, we can explore any of the sections of the ship that are connected to the engineering core in any order, so it doesn't matter where we begin. Heading over to Paulson, we find an option to say, I may need an extra gun in the hangar bay. Can you lend me a hand?
Well, now you're speaking my language. Hell yeah, I'll come with you.
Through this exchange, we'll learn that Paulson was designed to accompany us through the hangar bay. If we make sure to take the correct companion to the correct location on the ship, then while there, we'll enjoy unique experiences with that companion. So today, we're going to take Paulson and explore the hangar bay. As we learned in our last video, the hangar bay is one of the 3 places where we'll find a generator that we need to destroy. The hangar bay is the large door on the western side of the engineering core. We see a hologram outside of a ship of some sort rising from the floor. Heading inside, we turn a corner, head down a staircase, and arrive in a large room. Just as we enter,
I've seen it all. What the hell is that thing?
a spaceship rises from the floor and is held in place by what appears to be a series of some sort of magnetic poles, or perhaps they're gravity poles? Whatever they are, they hold the ship in place. The ship is damaged. This must be Recon Craft Theta, the spaceship we discovered on Earth just before we got abducted. We do see a few aliens walking around observation platforms in this hangar, and we see most of the doors on the ground floor are blocked with force fields. We need to find a way down there. Before moving down, we can loot 2 chests in this control area and a number of alien crystals on the tables and on the shelves. We see a door on the western side of this room, but it's blocked. Saying as how we can't go that way, we can instead head southwest. Pulling out our alien disintegrator, we can take care of the alien on this platform.
Whoa, I don't know what those tall shiny things are, but I'd stay away from them if I was you.
A few more emerge to see what's going on.
Very last one of them.
The commotion causes the aliens to unlock some of the doors on this ground level to come out and attack. Despite what Paulson said, these electromagnetic or gravity pylons don't seem to be very dangerous. At least they're not dangerous for us. Maybe we need to activate them somewhere. To the northeast, we find our very first support drone. These act a lot like protectrons that we find in their charging docks back on Earth. We do have an option to unlock this drone pod, but we can't right now because it requires a drone control device. We have to clear robotics assembly to find it, so we'll have to leave this guy alone for now. As we creep closer to Recon Craft Theta to explore it, Paulson gives us a warning.
Hold on there. Don't take another step. No telling how far down that goes.
Sage advice, Paulson. Peering over the ledge, we see stars. This must be a portal right out into space. I'm normally not stupid enough to jump on in there, but for the sake of science, let's see what happens. instant death. As we move to the southeast,
There's a whole bunch of important-looking gizmos up there. That's gotta be where the generator machine is.
Paulson must be referring to that ledge over there to the south, but we can't get up there from here. We can head through an eastern door, which one of the aliens opened when he came down to attack us. Here we find a ceiling-mounted turret. And peering south down the hall, we can destroy another. But this is wasted effort, as all of the doors down here are still blocked. I bet that once we destroy the generator, these force fields will disappear, just like what happened in the holding cells. But heading out, we see exactly where we need to go. We find a staircase to the west leading up to one of these observation platforms. Here we find more crystals on tables, and a switch to the west that opens a door. Heading through, we round a corner, go up some stairs to find a control room with 2 more support drone pods. This looks like an important area, but we don't see any enemies. We do, however, find 2 healing archways, and it was here that I finally realized that I could use my repair skill to improve the healing output of these archways. An examination of the device shows that the power to it can be increased, improving its effectiveness. This improvement would come at the expense of making the device burn out after several uses. Do you want to modify the device? If we modify it, the healing archway will fully heal us. However, it only has 3 charges. I'll show it off in just a bit. After looting a chest on the ground and modifying the second archway, we see a blocked door to the west, but just as we tag a control to open it...
I don't know what that sound is, but it can't be good. Watch yourself. I think we're about to have company.
Oh, great.
I'll stay up here to draw a bead on the aliens as they rush us. If they get near those towers, hit the buttons and fry 'em.
Go near those towers? Oh, does he mean those pylons? Sure enough, heading to the east, we see a bank of controls, each of which controls some of these pylons. As aliens charge our way to respond to the alarm, we can punch them.
Holy hell! Those towers made out of lightning or something?
The ship rocks back and forth, and we send aliens flying through the air.
Kill all of them!
But just as we are beginning to enjoy ourselves, more and more aliens emerge. Paulson's doing his best to shoot at some from this balcony, but some of the aliens stop just outside the range of the pylons and take aim at us, forcing us to pull out our weapons.
I'm trying to hold them all. I'll blast you in half! You down!
At length, some of the aliens get by and charge us from behind.
Keep hitting those buttons and take them down when you can.
We could try to let Paulson take care of these guys by himself, but Paulson is mortal. He can die.
Watch out. The damn things are coming from the generator room.
This is one way to gain access to his unique gear, I suppose, but if he dies, we miss out on our unique experiences with him later in the DLC. So I found myself having to stop what I was doing and help Paulson quite often.
Come on, you alien sons of bitches.
Finally, the aliens stop their assault, possibly thinking that we're just too well defended here. But take a look at our health. We can use this opportunity to test out the modified healing arches. And oh my goodness, that's so much better. Without modifying these things, they barely heal us.
That generator has to be around here somewhere.
Ah, right. Thanks for keeping me on task, Paulson. After looting the ash piles, we can head to the west where we see that the door is already open. Inside, Paulson focuses on the task at hand.
Finally. Let's get rid of that machine and then get the hell out of here.
But I'm focusing on the large stack of crystals on the shelf to the south, as well as an alien disintegrator and a huge stack of alien power modules. After looting a few more crystals and alien power modules, we can turn around to finally tackle this generator. And it works exactly like the one that we destroyed to release Sally from her holding cell. Punching the button on the middle of the console causes the cylinder in the center to rise. Then, just like last time, we flip all 3 of the core coolant switches. Then, we stand back and wait.
One generator machine. That ought to piss those aliens off. If we're done here, we should get back to the others.
Sounds good, Paulson. Before heading out, we can take a fine-toothed comb to the hangar. We find one more chest near to some pipes in the middle of this room, and then to leave, we can go out the door to the north. This brings us down some stairs, through a small room where we can find more alien crystals, and out a door to the very first control room that we found upon entering the hangar. This was that doorway that was initially blocked off. I was just about to leave when I remembered that there were all of those blocked off doors on the hangar floor that we couldn't access earlier. But now that we've destroyed the generator, I bet these are open. So heading back down to the hangar floor, we start by looting some of these Guardian drones, but on one, we find a new weapon, a drone cannon. The drone cannon is the big gun offering from Mothership Zeta. It shoots a giant ball of energy that basically acts like a grenade, but it's unique in that it bounces first before exploding. We can use the drone cannon to bounce off walls and reach hard to access areas. After firing, the electrical ball detonates after about 3 seconds or so. Even though this is a big guns weapon making use of the big guns perk, each bolt acts a whole lot like an explosive. The base damage of the bolt is 40, but then it does 100 explosive damage, which is highest towards the center of the detonation and diminishes moving away from the center of the detonation. It can do 3.3 attacks per second, bringing its DPS up to 466.7. or 616.7 if we've maxed out our big gun skill. But its real damage is a little bit smaller. If we empty a full clip, assume that each shot hits the target, and if we factor in the time it takes to reload, the DPS drops to about 85.7, or 113.3 with maxed out big guns. Still, it's a pretty devastating weapon. Heading through the door and down the hallway where we destroyed those 2 ceiling-mounted turrets earlier, we see that the rooms here are now open. These rooms were teleport rooms, which explains how so many aliens got down to the Hangar Bay so quickly. Inside one, we find a stack of alien crystals next to a shock baton and a chest, and inside the other, we find an alien atomizer on a shelf next to a whole bunch of alien power modules, with another chest. It's important to loot everything we can from the hangar now, because after we complete the primary quest of the DLC, we can't come back here. It's locked. So even if this gear encumbers us, it's prudent to take it and store it in the engineering core for later. That way, we don't miss anything. With the hangar floor explored, we can now retrace our steps, head back up the stairs, and leave to the engineering core. As soon as we do, we see the rest of the gang hanging out on the catwalk, and Paulson runs up to them.
He's not going anywhere. Why don't we just hold on to him and try to negotiate? You know, like a hostage.
And how are we supposed to do that? We can't understand what the hell they're saying.
I don't know. But maybe we should... There must be something.
No sense discussing it now.
Paulson's really a take-no-prisoner kind of guy.
I knew it! I knew it! The lights went out for a few seconds, and I just knew you took out one of those generators. All you have to do is 2 more, and we can leave. Don't worry, I'll be safe with these guys. They seem pretty neat.
We see that the gang has been busy while we were away. They've been opening a lot of these alien containers, only to find a bunch of loot from Earth. And they've set a bunch of this loot out for us to use. In the entryway, just before the northern room, we find a hunting rifle on a table, and Elliot standing guard nearby.
Hey, you're doing great. Only 2 more generators and we can move on. Just hang in there. I know this is rough.
Next to the hunting rifle are some explosives, a frag mine, and a stack of grenades inside a box. Heading inside the northern room, we see that they've discovered a suit of Talon Company combat armor, Moving north, we see some scrap on the ground, and then some ammunition and pulse grenades in a box right next to Soma.
Nice work taking out the generator. Only 2 more to go.
She's sitting next to a control that works like a weapons workbench. That's sure to come in handy. There's a bottle cap mine on a table nearby. And then heading downstairs to that big room with the window out to space, we see some more alien food set out. And here we find Toshiro kneeling on the ground under the stairs.
人をあざけるな。お主の物言いはさっぱりわからん。拙者を助けたくば、拙者の剣を探し出せ。
He has some makeshift bedding here. And imagine what he's thinking right now. This is a Japanese samurai from the 1500s, and he's sitting in a spaceship looking out a window into space. Despite the language barrier, all it takes is this one sight for him to know exactly what's going on. We find a footlocker on the ground with a full suit of metal armor inside, and that's about it for now. But each time we clear a section of the ship, when we come back, our companions will have discovered more stuff. Next, we'll tackle the engine room. The engine room is an optional place to explore, and we don't find a generator there. But we'll tackle it anyway to see if we find unique loot. For this, we'll go ahead and bring Soma with us. Heading to the middle of the engineering core, we will turn right and head to the northwestern wall. We see a hologram of some sort of floating thing right outside the door to the engine room. On the other side, we go down a staircase and turn left into a room.
Looks like they're repairing something in there.
Crouching down, we do see that we've been discovered, but looking through the glass into the room beyond, we don't see anyone. Oh!
Tear 'em up! Looks like
Despite what Soma says, we don't see anything that they were trying to repair in there, so instead we'll go north through the door down the hallway where the aliens attacked us. Rounding a corner, we find a healing archway which we can modify, but since we're nearly at full health, we'll save this for later. Following the hallway to the left, we creep forward to find ourselves in another windowed room. No enemies here, but just outside the door, we find some support drones.
welcome to the bowels of this shithole.
Thanks, Selma. We see a non-hostile support drone here. Not exactly sure why he's not attacking, and we don't see any option to interact with him. We see some windows to the northwest, with some aliens walking around on the other side of the glass, a few more non-hostile support drones next to a big circular western door. Then there are two more doors to the south. Moving towards the windows first, we see some sort of strange blue thing on the wall. It almost looks like a wall-mounted terminal. When we activate the control, we read, "Would you like to rig this communicator to explode?" We see an option to leave it alone, rewire controller for proximity explosion, or remotely overload turret circuitry. Well, I don't like the sound of turrets, so we'll go ahead and overload the turret circuitry. Whoa! Alright, well, the ceiling-mounted turret in the next room instantly explodes, and the chaos attracted an alien. Turning around, we see a door to the north, but it's inaccessible at the moment, so we need to pick a path forward. We'll start by heading to the southeast and going right into this room. Here we see a teleporter, but it seems to be deactivated right now, and near to this is another control. Moving out of the room and peering down that circular doorway, we can snipe off an alien.
I'm gonna mess you up.
This looks like the way we need to go, and I don't want to go there just yet. I want to finish exploring this room first, so turning around we can go through the eastern door. Here we find another drone cannon useful for repair, and we can leave this otherwise empty room through a door to the south. This leads us to that room we saw on the other side of the glass upon first entering the engine room. On a table nearby, we see some alien epoxy and biogel, and a unique weapon, the Electro Suppressor. This weapon is very different from the regular shock batons. It doesn't do electrical damage. Instead, it has a knockdown effect upon a critical strike, and this knockdown effect works both in and outside of VATS. It also does more base damage than the regular shock baton, dealing 24 damage, bringing its DPS up to 57.7. So essentially the knockdown effect gives us enough time to get in a few more strikes with the thing, which compensates for its lack of electrical damage over time. But this room is a dead end. So heading out, we can go back through the large room and through the western door. Here we find two support drones and an alien, giving us ample opportunity to test out our brand new Electro Suppressor.
Smells like they're pumping in flammable gas.
Despite what Soma says here, we don't see any flammable gas, but I pulled out my metal blaster just in case to see if I could take advantage of it. Moving west, we round a corner to take care of a ceiling-mounted turret. Into the next room, we get swarmed by drones.
I wonder what a well-placed grenade could do to that thing.
Again, I don't know what Soma is talking about here. What thing? There's no thing in this room. But trying to experience this place the way it was intended, I pulled out a frag grenade. I threw one into the next room. Didn't seem to do anything. Threw one down the stairs. Oh, looks like I killed something. All right. Moving into the eastern room, we see some sort of circular glowing thing, but we can't interact with it, and the grenade had no effect on it, but we do see a doorway to the south. Here we can modify a healing arch, and then turn east. This is that room where we exploded the ceiling-mounted turret using the blue terminal on the wall. Inside, we find a container. I again wanted to see if there was some sort of flammable thing in here, then tried my metal blaster. Nothing, really. So I'm not sure what Soma's talking about here. We can loot one more chest on the ground here, but that's it. So turning around, we can head down the stairs, open the door to the north, where we find a turret and some drones.
I got something. I got something.
Jiminy crickets, those doggone shimmering aliens. In this room are a few big tanks. We can leave through some double doors to the east. Here's another room with big tanks, where we find two more doors. One to the north, with an alien in it. This room just has a teleporter inside. We can't use it, but looks like the aliens can. So instead we'll turn east and open this sliding door. Here we find another healing archway we can modify, and an alien.
Aim for the head.
We find a second control terminal, but this one only has one option, to rewire the controller for proximity explosion. Well, we haven't tried that yet. Let's choose it to see what happens. Backing up just in case. Did I miss something? Oh! Alright, well, lesson learned there. Continuing forward and rounding the corner, we see stairs off to the left and a chest to the south. After looting the chest, we can go up the stairs to fight a drone. When dead, we can go up the stairs and enter the room.
All right, some epoxy.
Ooh, sharp-eyed Soma found us some epoxy. We find a tidy stash, along with some biogel and crystals, on a table to the east. We also find one more chest. Continuing south, we see a drone through the doorway. Oh, wait, I see. We've done a big loop. We're back in that big room where we used the terminal to explode the turret. This is where we found those drones that were neutral. All right, just to find out how much time I have, we can activate this terminal again and this time choose the proximity explosion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right, so 5 seconds or so. Good to know. But that's it for the engine room, a pretty small one, so we can wind our way back. Soma's dialogue in the engine room really perplexed me. I didn't want to miss anything. So cracking open the Fallout 3 official strategy guide, I tried to figure out what that was all about, only to discover that it's a whole lot of nothing. We find a note that says, if Soma is with you, she mentions that she's picking up the smell of flammable gas and mutters something about using grenades in the area. But these ideas don't pan out. So it looks like whomever wrote this guide was just as confused as me as to why she was talking about gas and grenades. Upon returning to the engineering core, however, we find that our companions have again been busy. There's now a metal box on a table to the left, I accidentally fell off this balcony to the first floor of the engineering core, but we discovered that our companions have been throwing a bunch of empty containers and trash down here. It's really starting to look messed up. We see a few containers we can loot, and we find a Chinese commando hat. One of the few in the game, but I've covered them in previous videos. It was lying next to an ammo canister, and nearby we find a footlocker with darts and a fission battery inside. Next to this is a plasma grenade in a pot. Moving west, we now find a tipped-over Nuka-Cola machine with Nuka-Cola inside, and there's a lot of stuff in the room with the big window out to space. Some flamer fuel next to some purified water, leather armor on the ground, a brand new first aid box filled with all sorts of goodies, and then a suitcase next to a footlocker in the corner filled with scotch. There's another ammo box next to a window, and we find a giddy-up Buttercup sign and a bunch of damaged and intact garden gnomes. There are crates filled with food and a combat knife on the ground, and heading upstairs we see a bin filled with whiskey and vodka. There's a new footlocker filled with recon armor, including the helmet, lying against the western wall, and to the east is a table covered in buff-out. Southeast of here is a brand new suitcase, but nothing really important inside. But on a table next to this are some missiles, with a first aid box on the ground next to it. Finally, next to a crate filled with food, we find a pot with a Nuka grenade inside. My, our companions sure have been busy. With that, we've destroyed one of the 3 generators powering the oxygen pumps. We still need to go to robotics assembly and the cryo lab. But there's also the cargo hold, the research lab, and the maintenance level. We have a lot more to explore, and we'll be sure to tackle each section in its own dedicated video. I publish weekly content here on my channel, so if you want to make sure you don't miss the next episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. I've got a shirt shop with a bunch of unique and custom designs that you can only find there. My shirts come in a wide array of colors and in a variety of both men's and women's sizes. You can also find the designs on a bunch of other products, mugs, posters, pillows, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do, and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a sponsor here on YouTube or a patron on Patreon. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning with episode 4.